So, as more and more famous actors and sports stars call for rescheduling, I told you guys that the Texas THC ban soap opera reality TV show is far from over. We had multiple THC bans proposed, bans rejected, 2 special legislative sessions called, and no headway was made. But now we got massive news as the Texas Governor Greg Abbott is expected to sign an executive order relating to the good herb.
Greg Abbott is expected to issue an executive order to regulate THC in Texas, setting a minimum age of 21 to buy hemp products in Texas. That is according to reporting by the Texas Tribune. The legislature's second special session ended last week with no progress on THC regulation, despite it being a main driver of the governor calling the session in the first place. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has been a strong advocate of an all-out ban on THC in Texas, but Governor Abbott vetoed a bill to make that happen after the regular legislative session adjourned. Now, the timeline for an executive order isn't certain, but the governor is expected to order that state health establish rules governing THC.
Now, this is an issue which we reported on countless times in the past. We've been keeping you guys updated with this from the very beginning. And if you guys recall, Lieutenant Dan Patrick was a staunch advocate for a ban. He wanted a complete ban on all THC products down in Texas. And after proposing that ban, it went all the way up to Governor Abbott's desk, and there he vetoed that ban. And what he said is that I'm not signing this into law. What I prefer is for you guys to regulate the market so that a lot of people are not negatively impacted. We don't want Texas taking a step back into the 70th century. Now, that being said, it does not mean that it's going to be a free-for-all when it comes to the good herb down in Texas. There are a lot of people who use it for medical purposes, and Governor Abbott recognizes that. But he also wants to regulate the market to keep it out of the hands of kids, and that's something you hear a lot of people who are calling for bans say. These products are falling into the hands of kids and they're poisoning children. Now, even though that's completely inaccurate, as you guys can see on the DEA's website, there's been no deaths from overdoses whatsoever, but I think it's smart to take that argument away from those advocates that call for bans by regulating it and keeping it out of the hands of kids. Now, what we've seen over the past couple days is that Governor Abbott seems open to sign an executive order regulating the industry. Now, just recently, before this news broke, Governor Abbott was asked whether he's going to sign an executive order relating to the good herb, and what he said is that you're going to have to stay tuned. You're just going to have to wait and see. And as you guys can see right here, and I quote, "The governor has not been a proponent of an outright ban that some Republican lawmakers have pushed, but instead called for a regulatory model focused on age limits and public health." He even went so far as to veto a ban bill during the regular session, so it remains to be seen what type of action he will take. But like I said, he was asked point blank, so let's hear what he had to say.
See the hemp products that didn't get done. Are you willing to wait till 27, or you can maybe thinking about a callback sometime around January?
I would say stay tuned on that. Something may be happening soon.
So once again, Governor Abbott is keeping those cards close to his chest. Stay tuned, something may be happening soon, and it's good to see that at least he has his mind addressed to it. Because Governor Abbott knows that this is a big issue for a lot of folks down in Texas. Now, I want to show you guys what his executive order is likely to regulate and what it could look like. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or cop some merch from our merch store. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics. Use the code LEGAL. It works on the bundle and the beans.
We have some preliminary information on what that regulation could include, but keep in mind, this is just a framework and it is not final. First off, setting a 21 and up minimum age to buy THC in Texas, plus ID check. Also requiring a certain distance from schools for businesses to sell THC, along with labeling requirements. The products would need to be tested for their THC content. And finally, businesses selling the substance would be subject to more fees. Now, according to the state health department, there is currently no minimum age set by the state to buy consumable hemp products or CHPs in Texas. Right now, retailers must register with state health, ensure the product is safe for consumption, that's free of any heavy metals, pesticides, microorganisms, and residual solvents. And CHPs sold in Texas can't have more than 0.3% of Delta-9 THC.
Well, the 0.3 requirement when it comes to hemp is nothing new. That's federal law and everyone is familiar with that already. But what about some of the other requirements and restrictions that executive order is expected to cover? We're talking about things like the 21 plus age requirements, which I think is personally fine. The ID check, also, I have no problem with that. The school distance, also, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Labeling requirements, I do think that that's important. The testing for the THC content, that may raise some concerns depending on the testing process, who's conducting the testing and so forth. And this is the big one, the fee increases. A lot of people do not like fees or taxes, especially considering the fact that they use these products for medicinal purposes, and taxing your medicine just does not seem right. Now, speaking of medicines and medical programs, over in Texas, they've actually posted new rules that will allow doctors to recommend new qualifying conditions and also allow inhalation devices. Now, this is big news because down in Texas, the Texas Medical Compassionate Use Program, or TCUP, it's super restrictive, really prohibitory, and pretty expensive, and a lot of folks down in Texas are not happy with that program at all. And on top of that, they do not allow any consumable flower, no inhalation whatsoever, only edibles, tinctures, and topicals. So by officials taking these steps to actually let doctors recommend new qualifying conditions, that in itself expands the program, but also by allowing inhalation devices, that also threefold expands the program. Now, what's pretty interesting is that in the past, chronic pain was not recognized as a qualifying condition down in Texas. But now we're seeing a bit of a change where chronic pain is recognized as a qualifying condition. Now, I want to show you guys why more and more older folks and medical patients are using the good herb for relief, and also why movie stars and sports stars are calling for rescheduling to be carried out. But before we do, let's have a closer look at this executive order which Governor Abbott is expected to sign down in Texas.
Governor Abbott is going in a different direction after the state legislature finished its latest session without taking any action on THC regulations.
The governor now plans to issue an executive order banning people under the age of 21 from buying THC products in Texas. Fox 4's Stephen Dial live with more.
I'm told Governor Abbott will sign the executive order before the end of the week. There continues to be a debate about if an all-out ban is more practical than trying to regulate the hundreds of stores that are across the state. I reached out to multiple law enforcement agencies to see what their take on this executive order would be, and many are waiting to see the actual details of what the governor orders. Reports of an executive order comes days after lawmakers failed to agree on THC regulations in the second special session. The Texas Senate passed a total ban, but the House did not take it up for a vote. While lawmakers could not agree on a total ban during the regular session, they did pass a new law that prohibits the sale of THC vapes and disposable nicotine vapes imported from China. Sources tell Fox 4 Governor Abbott's executive order would do a few things. It would ban products for all people under the age of 21, require ID checks at stores, something some businesses tell us they already do. It would also limit the proximity to schools and require enhanced labeling. Tarrant County Sheriff Bill Wayburn has been a vocal supporter of a total ban. His office told us Tuesday, quote, "The sheriff is closely monitoring the possibility of an executive order, but it would be premature to comment until we've had a chance to review the final details."
All right, so Stephen, could this executive order be challenged in court?
It could be, as any executive order can be challenged, but the chances of the hemp industry pushing back on this, guys, may be unlikely. The Texas Hemp Council sent a statement. You'll see part of it on your screen. Basically, they said that an age gate is long overdue, and they said that ID checks are something that some of their stores regularly do. And the statement went on to say that if this order goes through, it'll further eliminate what they call bad actors in this industry. Again, I'm told the governor will sign this before the end of the week. We'll have to wait and see what the exact details of that order is.
All right, Stephen Dial live. Thank you.
So a lot of these steps seem to be common sense measures. We're thinking things like age limits, ID checks, all of these are common sense things that should have been implemented already. Now, what they raise in that clip is a fantastic point. By simply recognizing some of these regulations and signing them into law, a lot of these bad actors will be eliminated, because now they run the risk of being shut down, facing penalties and so forth if they do sell products to underage kids and don't check ID. It's all pretty straightforward. Now, even though I think that these are restrictions that actually makes sense. It's not about what I think, it's about what you guys think. So drop in the comments down below and let me know what you guys think about that. But let's hear what people in the industry down in Texas think about these regulations and the possibility of an executive order. Have a listen.
Now to other top stories we're following across the state tonight. New rules could be coming to the evolving hemp industry here in Texas. Right now, there's no age requirement in order to buy THC-infused products, but now sources tell the Texas Tribune Governor Greg Abbott is going to change that with an executive order. Zach Briggs explains.
Like many shops across the state of Texas, Mary Jane's CBD dispensary already has signs in place indicating you must be 21 years old to enter and buy THC products. This executive order, if ever issued, would just make it official. And the store owner tells me he's supportive of these regulations.
We welcome these executive orders. This is great for our industry.
Alex Abdul canceled plans to move manufacturing to Oklahoma after Governor Abbott vetoed SB 3. Which proposed a total THC ban.
Because by law,
now Abdul is focused on the future, with Abbott potentially slated to issue an executive order that would establish rules for the sale of hemp products.
Lots of businesses like us, we already practice these, 21 and up. We ID people at the door, lab testing.
While the regulatory framework is not set in stone, Abbott's veto proclamation suggests additional distance requirements for CBD shops to do business in proximity to schools, churches, and parks, for example. There's also the possibility for sales to be limited between 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. As for Abdul, he's mainly thinking about the safety of children.
Some of the products in here can get you really intoxicated or high, and I believe you should be over 21 to consume those products. Or some underage children getting their hands on some of the products. That's our biggest concern is some 12, 13-year-old buying gummies, they don't know the dosage to take the whole bag.
And right now it's up in the air as to when Governor Abbott will issue that executive order.
So store workers and business owners, they're well aware of the issues when it comes to the kids getting their hands on these products. And a lot of them don't want the kids to get their hands on these products. So naturally, they ID and they prevent anyone who's under the age of 21 from even accessing the store. Now, flipping the script and moving away from the underage kids, why is it that more seniors and older folks are using the good herb when it comes to their relief instead of traditional forms of medicine? Well, it seems that there are lots of reasons for that, so let's check it out.
Each night, our Eye on America takes a look at the country, and tonight we focus on one way it has changed. When the baby boom generation was coming of age, marijuana use was against the law. Well, now, in much of America, it's legal. And as Jim Axelrod reports, some boomers are making up for lost time.
Don Searles is going to a party and doesn't want to show up empty-handed.
That's done. In goes peanuts.
So he's making peanut brittle using an old family recipe with a modern-day twist.
But now you got a new ingredient. Yeah, we added the marijuana. Yeah.
The party Don's attending is an old-school pot party. Although this one has a new wrinkle. It's at the Trilogy Retirement Community, an hour east of San Francisco, where lately the golf course has a new competitor for popularity.
This is the old style of rolling a joint.
Cannabis. Gail Crawley, the host of the party, is 74 and not at all surprised by some new numbers. Between 2021 and 2023, cannabis use among Americans 65 and older went up 46%.
Wow. Does that surprise you at all?
No.
Why not?
Because cannabis is a good solution to a lot of medicinal issues.
And with cannabis now legal in 40 states for medical use and 24 for recreational, the stigma is gone.
I've never smoked a cigarette, a joint.
When it comes to his cannabis, Stephen Clark is strictly an edibles guy.
You're a cannabis guy. What is it about cannabis that you're drawn to?
That it does work on PTSD, pain issues, relaxation issues, brain disorders, heart disease.
That's his experience, but some medical professionals think differently.
If they are smoking marijuana, we can be pretty confident that they're harming their cardiovascular system.
Professor Matt Springer at UC San Francisco has a warning. The active ingredient in marijuana may carry health risks no matter how seniors get it. Smoking it, gummies, even peanut brittle.
For people who get their THC through edibles, what does your study suggest?
it suggests that they might be having an adverse, a harmful effect on their cardiovascular system. If they're eating THC, they're not without risk.
But don't talk to Don Searles about risk. 5 years after a motorcycle accident left him with chronic pain. He needs something.
So there's a new study out. It shows a connection between cannabis use and cardiovascular disease.
It doesn't surprise me. I go to my doctor and he says, geez, quit drinking milk. Stay away from the sugar. You know, what isn't bad for you nowadays?
But despite the warnings, these seniors are happy just the way they are, high and retiring.
Now, if you watched that and it did not bring a smile to your face, something's wrong. Because personally, I think that that's amazing. A lot of older folks turn into the good herb for different forms of relief for all types of medical problems. And because of the fact that there's so many different ways that you guys can consume the good herb, topicals, tinctures, edibles, vaporization methods, there's so many different ways, it's not all about just smoking. So personally, I think that that was great to see. And also the fact that we're breaking the stigma. Some of these older folks who were so set in the reefer madness times, they're now crawling out of those times and embracing the good herb. And it's not just older folks, but also famous actors and sports stars, and they are behind rescheduling.
Celebrities are making their cannabis plea. Boxing superstar Mike Tyson is teaming up with other famous athletes to push for cannabis reform. They are urging President Trump to deliver on President Biden's, quote, failed pledge to address marijuana-related instances. Here was Tyson on Fox and Friends Monday.
Cannabis is in the same category as heroin. How do you categorize it with heroin? Anybody that ever smoked cannabis know there's no comparison. And that's just ridiculous. So we're working on making a Schedule 3 and open up safe banking. There's people that's still in prison, been in there for 15 years, got enormous amount of time and ridiculous sentences for cannabis. Can you believe the rest of your life is going to be spent in prison because of a plant?
So Mike Tyson for a long time now has really been rallying for the good herb, but also along other folks like Kevin Durant. And recently Mike Tyson appeared on a podcast where he said he expects good news on rescheduling and that it'll be coming pretty soon. So let me know what you guys think about everything we've discussed in today's video. Where do you guys stand on all these issues? Do you guys think it's a good thing that Governor Abbott will issue an executive order when it comes to the good herb? And do you guys think that it's a good thing that more seniors are using the good herb for medical purposes and relief compared to years back? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, you guys may have missed this, but there's a massive problem when it comes to licensing in the industry, and a lot of people have concerns that DEI is taking over. So if you haven't seen it, check that video because it's coming out right now.